democracy is broken and capitalism doesn't work. Fact. Plain and simple fact. Capitalism thrives on disaster. It's a system of profiteering that pits man against man. For one to succeed, another must fail. Or more precisely, millions of others must fail. For the more that suffer, the greater the wealth accumulated by the one. The many support the weight of the one with a booted heel in the face. Democracy, by definition, is government by the people, for the people. When looked at closely, it resembles communism and socialism in many ways. The underlying principle of all these forms is that the people, all the people, get an equal share, whether that be in bread or dollars. Governments, all governments, especially democracies, are entrusted to provide for the well-being of all, not just the few. The infusion of capitalism into our society has destroyed the very fabric of our democracy. The two are incompatible and need with urgency, like a cancer, to be separated. Words often attributed incorrectly to Abraham Lincoln, yet still spoken over 100 years ago, foretell. I see in the future a crisis approaching that unnerves me and causes me to tremble for the safety of my country. Corporations have been enthroned. An era of corruption in high places will follow, and the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working on the prejudices of the people until the wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed. What this foresaw was the America of today, where the corporations control and decide the direction and fate of the entire world for the benefit of a handful of businessmen who know nothing about sociology or ecology, never mind ethics, who see global warming, the melting of the ice caps, as the new frontier, the next business venture, their opportunity to turn a buck, while the rest of us are ground up and spit out by the machine. It is on our backs and with our blood that they propel themselves to the status of kings and gods. That is the sad reality of the situation. That is why we have no health care. That is why our homes are being stolen from us. That is why we have food riots around the world and no jobs at home. But to do all this, they need a tool, and that tool is war. War is the excuse and the means that enable the richest of the rich to hoard the entire wealth of the planet while billions suffer and die. It's a crime against humanity what has been done. If ever in the history of mankind there was a need and justification for revolution, that time is now. Corruption has run rampant for too long, unchecked and unbalanced, and it's high time that it be driven out from the chambers and their ministries, from the boardrooms and penthouses, out and for good. It's time for the people to take back their country, to take responsibility for it, to help lift each other up and turn this world around. The problem we now face is one of evolution. We must look the facts squarely in the face and decide how and where we are going to advance from here, for we cannot go backwards. Capitalism is in the midst of collapse and implosion. And in its collapse, the owners of the capital, the Rockefellers and all, are taking the rest of the world down with them. Point in fact, the World Bank and IMF, run by the very same band of stockholders, admits that it is the fault of the policies that they set in place that has exacerbated and in many cases created the famine and poverty that we see today, not only in third world countries, but in places like India, where local agriculture was destroyed to make way for American food conglomerates and profiteers like Monsanto, throwing a self-sustaining subcontinent onto the brink of starvation. And now they're going after Greece, with Portugal, Italy, and Spain next on the chopping block. NAFTA is another such policy that is crippling the entire North American continent with unemployment while stripping farmers in Mexico of their lands to make way for imports. Instead of reversing course, as must be done in order to save our faltering economy and infrastructure, the powers that be are pushing for even greater deregulation of international trade with proposals for the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Transatlantic Partnership, which will free companies from all trade barriers, giving these global corporations the same rights as countries before the United Nations, empowering businesses to sue nations in international court for loss of revenue due to any restrictions whatsoever. This is the path we are on. The system must change. That is evident. However, bringing us back to fact, the capitalists control the military, the police, and all private mercenary security firms and are not about to let go of their power. The bottom line is that the only way to overturn capitalism is by taking away their toy. Their primary tool, their weapon of control, is the money. We must release ourselves from their debt and abolish the private banking system. The resources we need today are all right here. We have so much work that needs to be done. All the tools are at our disposal, and an unemployed workforce starves to death. Seriously, what's wrong with us? A few very rich bankers and corporate executives hoard all the money and say we cannot have what is right in front of our noses and squeeze us until we have nothing left. They poison our air and food and water, and right when we have nothing left, they criminalize our poverty. No matter how much the bankers say we owe, they cannot stop the sun from rising the next day. The moment we reject their monetary system, we win. The government may say there is no money, but that does not deny the fact that the very resources that we need to improve our lives exist in plenty. Resources abound. It's just a matter of making proper use of them. You want a solution to the economic crisis? It's simple and can be done in one day. It's called total debt forgiveness. You just push the reset button to zero, wipe out all debt in one fell swoop. Global Economic Amnesty. I don't owe you, you don't owe me, and no one owes anyone a thing. Your house, your apartment, wherever you live, it's yours. And if you don't have a place to live, then you move into whatever house is boarded up, and there's a lot of them around. And that's that. Zero homelessness in one day. How do we do that? Where is the legal basis? The answer can be found right in the United States Constitution. Without even going to Congress, the president may use the power of pardon to forgive our entire debt with one stroke of the pen. Eminent domain was established for this very purpose, to protect the people from the bankers. Screw the banks. Why not? They've done everything they can to screw us, so screw them. Screw the banks and screw the bankers to hell. It's that easy. Then we can look seriously at what physical resources we have and start repairing our communities, our country, and our planet. Not in 2020, not in 2050, but right now, today. Take away their money and you take away their power. Total debt forgiveness. Global Economic Amnesty. Now.